Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Success Unscripted. And so today I want to be talking about what to do if your offer isn't selling without rebuilding everything. And this is for those of you who have a really strong offer. And you know this because your clients are getting result and they are raving about what you're doing, but you don't have enough people saying yes, or people aren't even raising their hand right now to say, I'm interested. And so this is the time when it's easy to start questioning everything. Maybe it's the pricing, maybe it's the audience, maybe it's the offer, maybe it's a this, that, and the other, right? Our minds can start going in a million different directions and make us want to tear it all down and start over from scratch. And I am saying this because I have seen it in a lot of the women that I've worked with. It's happened to myself, right? But most of the time, when we really dig in and we look at it, it's not the offer itself. And it's often the messaging, how it's being positioned, and how it's being delivered. And so the good news with all of this is that's all fixable, right? So today I'm going to walk you through how to figure out why your offer isn't selling, even if it's amazing. And the three places I always look first before making any big drastic changes. And then what you can start using that you already have today to start selling more. So let's dive right into this. So, when an offer isn't selling, most people assume it's the offer itself, right? So, we start rebuilding, we start redoing the whole program, adding this, that, and changing the price, right? There's so many things that we start doing, and we can get stuck in the build mode. And what I have found in my experience is that it usually what's happening is that it is the messaging, the positioning, or the path that's making it hard for people to say yes. And so today we're going to be talking about those three things, right? The messaging, the path, and the proof. And we'll talk about how to use AI tools to really help speed this up, to make it easier so that it doesn't feel like just another thing to add to your plate, right? And when I help my clients audit what isn't working or why their offer isn't converting, these are the three things that we look at. And this is really helpful because it allows you to not start rebuilding everything from scratch. Because as I said before, you can get stuck in build mode. And then while you're building everything, you're not focusing on everything that was working. So then everything stops working. Speaking from experience, this happened not too long ago. And so I found that it's really important to focus on what's already working. How can we build that up? And then make sure that we're making it super easy and simple for our clients to say yes. We're talking about what it is that they really want. And this is so, so, so important because you might be sitting on something amazing, right? Your offer that your current clients already love. And there's so many other best friend clients out there that would absolutely love it and benefit and be so impacted by it. But because the messaging, the positioning isn't landing or it's not getting in front of the right audience, they never get to see it. I've seen so many people scrap really good things when all it needed was a tune up or small tweaks in how it was delivered. I once had a client who we did a launch, it was to a cold audience. We built this program. We're like, let's just launch it, test it out, see how it works. Goal was to get 10 people in. I think she got five or six people in, made 18,000, which is amazing, right? But it wasn't quite to our goals. She was like, this isn't working, scrap the whole thing, start over, this, XYZ. But we took a step back and I said, this did work. We have proof. People said yes, people wanted it. They're getting results. And you made $18,000 out of the gate. No sales calls, no live workshops, no ads, no paid advertisement, just email, right? So something is working. And so instead of burning it all down and rebuilding from the scratch, we looked at, was the message clear? Where did people engage with you? Where did they say yes? And where maybe did they fall off? So was the message clear? The follow up working? Did people know exactly how to take the next step, right? Those are the three things we look at. So then you can just refine what isn't working, refining the lead in offer or simplifying the follow up or making it more strategic. right? So that the next launch is even more powerful. You get even more conversions. Because I don't know how many times I've seen people like, oh, this didn't work, throwing it away, not doing it again. We're going to try another strategy. That didn't work. Throw it away. And another strategy. That didn't work. Throw it away. So instead, we can take a time tested strategy, alter it to fit your business and your style of showing up. And then we put it out there. What worked? What didn't work? Make those small shifts. Do it again the next time. It's going to get even better. And again, the next time, it's going to get even better. I say we get 1 to 3 launches under the belt, and then we can turn it evergreen and we can make it so that you're bringing in consistent sales every day. But we need to make sure the messaging is key, the path for them to say yes is easy, and that you have the proof there to back up the promises, right? So, this is the framework I use when an offer isn't selling: the message, the path, and the proof. Okay. So, it's really easy to, we're going to start with the message. It's really easy to build a program around what we know they need, right? Because we've seen it time and time again. We are the expert, we know exactly what they need. But that could be different than what they think they need, right? A lot of times they're buying based on what they think they need. And so, again, it goes back to that we take them from problem aware to solution aware. And so their journey needs to be that we have to fill all of those pieces to make sure they are ready to say yes. So the question is, when they land on your page, hear you talk about your offer, whether that's in your emails, your sales page, podcast episodes, do they immediately know that's for me? That's exactly what I need? Or do they just keep scrolling by? Right. And so, an easy way to think about this is the benefit clear? Is the transformation clear? Or are you talking too much about the features and not as much about the benefits? As soon as they land on their page, they need to know what's in it for me. How is this going to make my life better? How is this different or better than what I've tried in the past that hasn't worked? Right? Typically, if it's a high ticket offer, people have tried other things that just aren't working. And so they want your offer, your solution to be the thing that's finally going to work. It's different than what they've tried before. It's better, it's easier, right? How are you standing out? And so you can use AI to help here. And I've created some analyzer tools that you put in your sales page and it analyzes it for you, tells you where the key areas that can improve, such as, is it too feature heavy and not as much about the benefits? Do you have testimonials sprinkled throughout that social proof? Are you talking about the clear transformation in their words, right? Using their language. So I think that's really important, that if it doesn't sound compelling to you, neither will it to your audience. Right. I send copy to clients sometimes and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I want to buy my own offer. And then we see them filling it up, right? And so that's what you want. Another important part is some people feel like they're consistently repeating themselves. But I don't necessarily say that's a bad thing. A lot of times I think it's actually a good thing, because when your message is consistent, it's not that you're saying the same thing over and over and over again, right? You can introduce different stories or different types of content that all come back to that one main idea. Or when we're talking about consistency in different workshops you're offering in lead magnets, right? When people see something again and again and again, they think, oh, this must be working. It's kind of starting to build that recognition in their brain. It's building that authority, the trust, all the things. So when you're being consistent, it actually builds trust and credibility. Okay. And so when you look at your message, we just have to understand, is it really clear on why they should say yes and how it is going to help them? And then the path. Do they know exactly how to take the next step? And so when we talk about visibility, my last workshop, visibility to sales, visibility is great. It's so important. You need to have an engaged audience. You need to be visible. You need to be showing up in order for anyone to be able to say yes. But if you're visible without the follow up, no sharing how to take the next step, nobody's going to take the next step and say yes. If it's not easy to say yes, it's not going to work. And so if your message is working, they're interested, but you're not getting the sales, it's because they might not know what to do next. Maybe it feels like too much work, or maybe there's still even a tweak in that messaging to show them what to do next. Sometimes we think we're being clear, but people need exact steps on how it works, what to do. They want to be told, click here, buy now. We don't have to be clever with our call to actions. Be extremely clear. So I always look at is the call to action clear? Is the buying process frictionless? Are you telling them exactly what to expect after they sign up? Are we overcoming those objections on the way to the sale? Again, sometimes we think we're being obvious, but we're not always being that obvious. Sometimes you have fact finders and they need to know every single detail about everything before they say yes. Sometimes you just have the people that scroll and they're like, oh, this looks good. I'm in, right? We have to appeal to different types of buyers. And so, one small change in the follow up sequence, or adding simple frequently asked questions, or changing a headline on your sales page, changing the flow, that can make all the difference. Okay, so we want to make sure it's easy to go from being visible, a workshop, your emails, to saying yes and to pushing buy now, right? So, what does that process look like? Is your sales page strong and compelling? Do your emails back that up on why they need to say yes and why this is the right offer for them? And then the proof. Are you showing people that this actually works, right? People don't just want to hear about your offer, they want to see that it works. So you don't always need long testimonials or a ton of testimonials. Sometimes it's just a DM screenshot, a screenshot from an email, a short client win, or a before and after snapshot. And even if it's a new offer, it's likely you've served someone in this capacity before. So you can talk about the experience of working with you and the transformation that you created for them, even if it's in a different container. It's the experience of working with you, and people want to know that it works, right? And so that helps people say, oh, this is working. This is exactly what I'm dealing with, or it worked for them, so it could work for me, right? The more that you have, of course, the stronger it is. Even if you have just a couple that you can share in your emails and share on the sales page, it is key. Social proof is big, especially now in our world and the times we are in where trust is low. Social proof is so important. I look at this in the, it kind of comes back to that repetition, right? Even when we're running a workshop, the first time someone could sign up, you might have 4 people. Second time, you might have 12. The third time, you have 50, because we're building the repetition. We're learning what people are clicking on, what they're engaging with, the messaging that's landing, the copy that's landing. And so we're able to consistently make it better and stronger. And throughout all of those workshops, all those things you're doing, you can be gaining testimonials from those, keeping screenshots and adding those into your process. And so this helps build trust, and trust leads to sales. Okay. And so those are the three things: the message, the path, and the proof. And so if your offer isn't selling, I would suggest to look at those three things rather than tailing it all down and starting from scratch. And so, of course, if there is any support you need around this, or you want me to just quickly do an audit and review of your copy, I do workshops every month, do live Q&As, or just send me an email and let's. You don't need to rebuild your offer. It's likely you just need to look at the message, the path, or the proof. Thanks so much for listening.